talk about, I mean, your experience there a bit more. So you put out this letter, landed you your first client, right? Real estate agent or kind of real estate market.
Mhm.
What walk us through, like what were the steps that you took to build up the business from that point? And say landing your next, 3 or 4 or 5 clients. What were you just sending out more emails? Were you asking for more referrals? Were you using publicity and PR yourself in your business?
Mhm.
Something else? Like walk us through what you did to kind of get your first real stable of core clients.
This is what I did with that first client. She didn't want to pay the full amount. So I said, this is what I'm going to do. I'm going to charge you half the amount and I'm going to invest the other half, meaning I would do the work and she wouldn't pay me. At the end of 6 months, she would then go up to the full fee.
Okay.
I knew that when people saw what I was able to do on her behalf, it would attract other clients. And
Mhm.
that's exactly what happened.
Okay.
So I used that client as a leverage to get into the real estate industry. I went with her to events. I never ignored her, but I always networked. I had my business cards. And when I saw opportunities, I took them. So she would speak at this real estate school, and I got to know the owner of it. She saw the press that I was doing, and then she hired me.
Hmm.
For real estate companies they began to see with this client because I was getting her wonderful media. She was on the cover of the New York Times, she was on television, she was in the Wall Street Journal, and no other real estate expert was getting that. And so my company began to get a buzz and I exploited that buzz. So what I say to other consultants is, what's in order to get what you want, sometimes you have to invest.
Right.
And
What did that look like though, Jennefer, in terms of like, were you creating case studies of the work that you were doing? Were you kind of documenting, like saving, here's the cover of the New York Times or whatever it might be, and then sending that to people? Like just kind of walk us through a little more tangibly. How did you take that success that you were having with your client and then extrapolate or connect that to the next client or a lead and a conversation with somebody new?
back then it was different because
Okay.
we're talking about the early aughts and the
Yeah.
media landscape has changed since then. But what I did, we didn't do case studies because I only had one client.
Right. Okay.
And so it was truly, people seeing what I was doing for
Mm.
this particular client. And then what my client, they would ask her, who's doing your press? How are you getting in? And she would say, oh, it's Jennefer. And remember what I said, I didn't stay home. I didn't stay in the office. I was out there going out and meeting other people within the real estate community. And I was not shy about saying what I was doing. Now,
Right.
back then, social media was not really used as much as it is now. There wasn't really LinkedIn, definitely not Twitter or Facebook. So a lot of it was word of mouth. And then the company that she was working for, I got to know the PR department there, and they would refer me business, like that agent needs something, or we hear that this is going on. So it really was back then word of mouth,
Mhm.
me going out there and selling myself. And again, the market was truly very different back then. I always say it was like manna from heaven, that I sat down at my desk and the business would come in. Nowadays, there are multiple channels that you can use, such as social media. And we can talk a little bit more about that later, about how entrepreneurs can squeeze the most out of social media. And you also have to really strategically market yourself.
Yeah.
And what I say about my clients is that if we get the media, and our focus is on media for many of our clients, that's another thing that we can use to get more clients. The creativity, like one client, we created a podcast for him. Another client, we developed a conference series that was very successful for him. So when we're going out for new business, we can take these successes as examples of the work that we do. So what I did in the early aughts, some of it would still continue to work, which I still do. I still very much promote myself, but there are a lot of new ways that consultants can use, especially social media and
Mhm.
virtual networking, that will enable them to get more clients and raise their visibility.
Yeah, so let's talk about that a little